How are you guys doing? It is Monday, September 21st, 2020. I hear in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to take you through the MLB playoff picture as with this quarantine, with this COVID season, they've had to shorten it, and this is the first time they're going to try an 8-team playoff. And with this shortened season, and it looks as though it's going to be done by the end of this week. I think it's really interesting just to show what the playoff picture would look like with both leagues, especially right now at this very point in time. So as of right now, on Monday, September 21st, looking at the American League, the Tampa Bay Rays have the best record in the American League. They are sitting at 35-19, and as of right now, no, I mean, they're kind of just sitting by themselves. Half a game behind them and taking the second place spot would be the Chicago White Sox, the team that are currently leading the AL Central. They're half a game behind the Tampa Bay Rays, sitting at a 34-19 record with one less win. And then the third seed in the American League will go to the Oakland Athletics, who currently have the best record in the American League West with a 33-20 record, sitting 1.5 games behind the Tampa Bay Rays. The fourth seed would go to the Minnesota Twins. They'd get the final home spot, as if the playoffs were regular, they would still make the playoffs with a 33-22 record. They are 2.5 games behind the Tampa Bay Rays, and they are 2 games behind their division rival, the Chicago White Sox, for sole lead of their division. But as of right now, the Minnesota Twins have the 4 seed, and the 5 seed is in possession of the New York Yankees, who are sitting at 31-22, 3.5 games behind the first place Tampa Bay Rays. And then the third spot, which will be the second spot in the AL West, will go to the Houston Astros, the 6th spot. They're sitting at 27-26, 7.5 full games behind the first place Tampa Bay Rays, and they're currently sitting 6 full spots behind the AL West leading Oakland A's. The 7th spot will go to the third best team in the AL Central, which would be the Cleveland Indians, who are now 29-24, 5.5 games behind the Minnesota Twins. They're 3 games behind the Minnesota Twins. They are 5 games behind the Chicago White Sox and 5.5 games behind the first place Tampa Bay Rays in total in the American League. And then jumping out to the 8th seed would belong to the Toronto Blue Jays, who are sitting at 27-26, 7.5 games behind the first place Tampa Bay Rays, and they're sitting 4 games behind the second place New York Yankees within their own division. And then behind them, you'll find the Seattle Mariners, who are 4 games out from the wild card, so it looks as though they cannot lose going forward, because it looks as though they're really, really close to being eliminated. I don't know if they've been eliminated yet, but it's a matter of time. And then behind them, half a game behind them, are the Baltimore Orioles, who are 4.5 games behind, who are 4.5 games out of the wild card, and tied with them are the 23-31 Los Angeles Angels. And also the 22-30 Detroit Tigers are also 4.5 games out of the wild card. A game and a half behind them are the 21-32 Kansas City Royals, who have the worst record in the AL Central. They are 6 games out of the wild card. A game and a half behind them are the 20-34 Boston Red Sox, who have the worst record in the AL East, who are 15 games behind the first place Rays, and they are 7.5 games out of the wild card. And in very last place, sitting at 19-34, the Texas Rangers are 8 games out of the wild card, 15.5 games behind the first place Tampa Bay Rays, who are leading the league. So that's what the American League looks like right now. Jumping to the National League, the Los Angeles Dodgers have the best record in all of baseball with a 38-16 record, and they would have the number 1 seed going in. The number 2 seed right now would be a toss-up, but I think they'd give it to the Atlanta Braves right now because of their division record. The Atlanta Braves right now hold on to the number 2 seed in the National League, as they have the best record in the National League East at 31-22. They are 6.5 full games behind the Los Angeles Dodgers. And right now, the third seed right now is being held on by the Chicago Cubs, who have the same exact record as the Atlanta Braves. And right now, they currently lead the NL Central right now with 31-22. The 4th seed in the National League West and the last home team for the first round will be the San Diego Padres, who have the second best record in the National League, but they have the second best record in the National League West behind the Dodgers. They're 4 games behind the Dodgers, and they're 2.5 games better than the Atlanta. They have a record that's 2.5 games better than the Atlanta Braves and the Chicago Cubs, but they're still holding on to that 4th spot in the National League West. The 5th spot in the National League would go to the Miami Marlins, who are now 28-25 in the NL East. They're 3 games behind the Atlanta Braves, and they are 9.5 games out of the lead behind the Los Angeles Dodgers. The 6th spot would go to the second place team in the National League Central, the St. Louis Cardinals, who are sitting at 26-24 after after kind of getting back into the groove after missing 2-3 weeks due to COVID concerns. They are 10 games out of first place, but they're still kind of holding on to that spot in the wild card pretty comfortably. The seventh place spot in the National League would go to the Philadelphia Phillies, who are half a game out, or who are I'm sorry. They are a game behind the Miami Marlins and 4 games behind the Atlanta Braves, and they've been kind of surging lately, sitting at 27 and 26. They're still 10 and a half games removed from the top, and they're still half a game above the last spot that 3 teams are fighting over for the wild card. And so, like I said, there's a 3-way tie for the 8th seed in the National League. You have the 27 and 27 Cincinnati Reds, the 26 and 26 Milwaukee Brewers, and the 26 and 26 San Francisco Giants, all fighting for the same spot. They're all 11 games behind the first place Los Angeles Dodgers, and they're all half a game behind the 7th seed Philadelphia Phillies. And then 2.5 games out of the National League wild card of the New York Mets, who are also in win now mode, as they really need to try to get this win. They're currently 3 games behind the 7th place Philadelphia Phillies. So the Mets can't lose going forward. Half a game behind them are the 23 and 29 Colorado Rockies, who are 3 games out of the wild card. And then going into the 3 worst teams in the National League, the Washington Nationals, who are the defending Major League Baseball champs. Defending World Series champs are now 20 and 32 with the worst record in the National League East, who are currently 11 and a half games behind the NL East leading Atlanta Braves, 17 games behind the Los Angeles Dodgers, who lead the league, and they're 6 games out of the wild card. A game behind them are the 20 and 34 Arizona Diamondbacks, who are 18 games behind their division leading and league leading Los Angeles Dodgers, and 7 games out of the wild card. And in very last place, with I believe the worst record in all of baseball, are the 15 and 38 Pittsburgh Pirates, who have the worst record in the National League Central, who are, it looks like, 16 games out of the NL Central, and they're 11 and a half games out of the wild card. They're most definitely out. But that's what the standings look like right now. That's what the playoff pictures look like. If we were going to look at the American League right now, if the season ended right now, the Tampa Bay Rays would take on their division rivals, the Toronto Blue Jays. The 2nd seed Chicago White Sox would take on the 7th seed Cleveland Indians. The 3rd seed Oakland Athletics would take on the 6th seed Houston Astros within their own division. And the Minnesota Twins at 4, the top wild card team, would take on the New York Yankees, the 2nd best wild card team. And then jumping out to the National League, let's say the Cincinnati Reds make the playoffs instead of the Milwaukee Brewers and the San Francisco Giants. Or any of those teams. It doesn't even matter. Whoever makes it out of those teams is probably going to play the Los Angeles Dodgers in the first round. The Dodgers have the best record in the National League, and they'd play the 8th seed. The 2nd seed Atlanta Braves, if it started right now, would take on the 7th seed Philadelphia Phillies. The 3rd seed Chicago Cubs would take on the 6th seed St. Louis Cardinals. The 4th seed San Diego Padres, who have the 2nd best record in the National League, will take on the 5th seed Miami Marlins, who have the 2nd best wild card record in the National League. So with that said, I appreciate you for listening to all 8 minutes of this piece. Once again, it is Monday, September 21st, 2020 in this quarantine. I'm James Sims. And once again, I hope everyone's doing well. Thanks again for listening to my piece, and peace out.